Good morning, all. This is the report from the Sierra Leone delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. Honorable members, I would like to convey on behalf of my delegation fraternal greetings from the government and people of Sierra Leone to the Honorable Speaker and members of this noble house, and to the federal government and people of Nigeria. I am delighted to share with you the following highlights. We are given templates, and we did justice to the template, and we are going to be to the point. Now, the political situation in our country. But first of all, before I go into that, I want to take this special opportunity to thank the Speaker and the mediation team who went the last time during our impasse to mediate between us. And if we are talking about peace and security now in Sierra Leone, they are the cause. And we want to say special thanks to the team and this house. Now, the political situation in our country. In August 2019, following the violent clashes between supporters of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party and the main opposition party, the All People's Congress, in by-elections, the Sierra Leone Parliament held a leadership retreat in the southern city of Bo, where the Bo Declaration was signed. By adopting and launching the Bo Declaration, members of the Fifth Parliament have committed to work in harmony, irrespective of political affiliation, to respect parliamentary procedures, promote sincere consultations with political parties and other stakeholders, and to depoliticize the administration of Parliament. On the 12th of September 2019, the former President Ernest Bai Koroma paid a courtesy call on President Julius Maada Bio at his State House office in a move to improve inter-party dialogue and promote political tolerance. These interventions have helped to improve the relationship between the SLPP and the opposition political parties. Subsequent by-elections have been generally peaceful. The human rights situation in Sierra Leone. Status of operations of the National Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission of Sierra Leone is the body responsible for protecting and promoting human rights. Human rights in Sierra Leone have been in a rather deplorable state, but have improved gradually with the return of democracy in 2002, after a decade of civil war. Among the major human rights violations in Sierra Leone today are rape, social discrimination, violence against women, child abuse, trafficking in persons, harsh conditions in prisons, abuse of labor and land rights, police brutality, detentions without trial, insufficient legal representation, and prolonged delays in trials. The human rights has been making frantic efforts to improve the situation of human rights through mediation, close monitoring of detention centers, and investigation of report cases. Two cases worth mentioning are the Commission's intervention in the release of a young Sierra Leonean inmate at Kenema, the eastern part of Sierra Leone Correctional Center, who had been under detention for 12 months without trial, on allegations of conspiracy, larceny, and burglary. In another matter, the Commission also caused the release of a vessel and 6 foreign crew members after they were detained by the Criminal Investigation Department in Freetown for more than a month on suspicion that they were engaged in criminal activities. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, protection of the rights of children and women. This is dear to my heart. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in response to the rampant cases of rape and other forms of violence against women, the First Lady, Mrs. Fatima Bio, has embarked on district-level Hands Off Our Girls campaign, which seeks to end sexual and gender-based violence with emphasis on rape. She has appealed to religious and traditional leaders to stop promoting child marriage and warned parents against compromising cases of rape in the name of safeguarding family unity. Through her campaign, the First Lady has been raising public awareness on social, economic, health impacts of social violence. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if we really want to be serious with ourselves and want to be very honest with ourselves, I think this is the time we should join Sierra Leone in this campaign. It is not only for Sierra Leoneans, but it is for the people of this sub-region. Because if we are talking about our children, we should take this message to our various communities, to the stakeholders who normally want to compromise cases, and also to the teachers and lecturers who sometimes give free marks to these girls, and the lawmakers, we, the honorable members. You, the male honorable members, you have to disseminate this important campaign for us. Get hands off our girls. And we have to start it here. You should get hands off these girls so that we should have more women in this parliament, because it is male-dominating, and even the parliaments in our own countries, they are male-dominating parliaments. So if you get hands off these girls, they will be strong and they will be more vibrant. So I'm appealing to you, when you go to your various institutions, to your various communities, please pass this on to us, to your people. Leave the girls to be girls, boys be boys, the men be fathers, and of course, women be mothers. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the President retired Julius. The Act sets the age of consent at the Sexual Offences Act 2012 was amended on the 18th September 2019. The age sets it sets the age of consent at 18. The new law criminalized sexual harassment and marital rape and has increased the maximum penalty for rape and sexual penetration of a child from 15 years to life imprisonment. The President retired Julius Maada Bio on the 7th of September 2019, commissioned 327 female soldiers in Sierra Leone Armed Forces. The first time the Sierra Leone Armed Forces has recruited an all-female batch of soldiers since 1978. The female recruitment drive was in adherence to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's recommendations, which called for 30% female representation in every public sector. The move was also to facilitate the fulfillment of the UN policy, which requires that peacekeeping contingencies must include 15% of females. In 2018, the Parliament of Sierra Leone, in collaboration with the development partners, sent a study mission of female parliamentarians and their male champions to Rwanda and Kenya to find out Sierra Leone could use affirmative action to grant at least 30% representation to women in parliament and in other decision-making bodies. The resolution of the study mission was presented to the President this year. President Bio has expressed the political will to support initiatives that will empower women in Sierra Leone. Freedom of the press, right to access information, freedom of assembly and protest. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the government has been widely commended for the unprecedented political will it has demonstrated to repeal the obnoxious criminal and seditious libel law, which has been an obstacle to press freedom. Cabinet approved the repeal of the law, and the Law Officers Department has drafted the bill, which we hope will eventually be passed into law. The enactment of the Right to Freedom of Information Act 2013 and the setting up of the Right to Access Information Commission has promoted the citizens' rights to information. Freedom of assembly and protest are generally respected, but in some instances, a police clearance may be required for security reasons. The security situation in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has remained a peaceful country after the Civil War. Among the serious security threats are corruption, endemic poverty, youth unemployment, political tolerance, intolerance, and tensions between local communities and multinational companies over large-scale acquisition of farmland for mining and agriculture. Government has set up a mediation team led by the Vice President to resolve the land conflict in Pujon District, the southern part of Sierra Leone. Reducing poverty and youth unemployment through promoting human capital development and increasing private sector participation are key priorities to government. Through the amendment of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2008, Parliament has granted additional powers to the Anti-Corruption Commission, which has made corruption a very risky business in Sierra Leone. Economic and social situation. Economic growth. The Sierra Leone economy grew by 3.5% in 2018 compared to 3.8% in 2017, mainly as a result of the weak performance in the mining and construction sector. The economy is estimated to grow by 1.5% in 2019 due to increased activities in agriculture sector, higher production of rutile, increased construction activities, and expansion of the service sector. Excluding iron ore, the economy is estimated to grow by 4.5% in 2019. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, gross foreign reserves at the Bank of Sierra Leone increased to $532.2 million as at end of August 2019 from $483 million in December, reflecting mainly the disbursement of programs and project grants and balance of payments supported by our donor development partners. The Leone depreciated by 11.0% against the US dollar from December 2018 to September 2019. The external debt stock increased by 2.5% to $1.64 billion at end of June 2019. The stock of domestic debt amounted to about $635.6 million as at end of June 2019, and increased by 7.5% relative to the stock as at December 2018. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, fight against poverty and youth unemployment. The 2020 Finance Bill, which was laid before Parliament on the 8th November 2019, proposes several policy measures that will increase revenue and at the same time create the enabling environment for businesses to thrive and create employment opportunities. Government is reintroducing a national microcredit scheme and will provide 100 billion loans between 2020 and 2022 for micro-enterprise development, targeting 20,000 people, of which 70% are women and 30% are youths. I must congratulate my government for that. The government has allocated 21% for the national budget to the implementation of its flagship free quality education program. In public schools, the burden of paying school fees on parents and guardians no longer exists. Government also provides exercise books and core textbooks for pupils. Over 128,470 pupils are benefiting from the National School Feeding Program, with support from the government of Sierra Leone, Catholic Relief Service, and the World Food Program. Government has provided 69.9 billion loans in the 2020 budget for school feeding. This will provide school meals for over 428,000 pupils. Status of ratification and implementation of community tests and payment of proceeds from the community levy. Sierra Leone has ratified 45 out of 54 protocols and conventions. In compliance with the community levy protocol, Sierra Leone paid $500,000 on the 2nd of September 2019 as part of arrears owed. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, status of implementation of community programs and projects. The Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea regional electricity project is at an advanced stage. The project is expected to improve access to cheap and reliable electricity in Bow, Kenema, Freetown, and other parts of the country. Government provided 17 acres of land for the establishment of a peace support operations logistics depot at Lunge, Phase 1, which involves the construction of perimeter fences and an administrative building. Was completed in 2016, and $2 million has been approved to start work on the remaining phases. In May 2029, the government of Sierra Leone and the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development signed a joint aid memoir for the construction of the University of Science and Technology in Kono, that is the eastern part of Sierra Leone. Performance of the micro-convergence criteria. The country's performance on the primary convergence criteria improved during the period, with Sierra Leone satisfying 3 out of 4 primary convergence criteria. The fiscal deficit central bank financing of the fiscal balance as a percentage of the previous year's tax, revenue, and gross external reserves in months of imports criteria, we are satisfied. The single-digit inflation criterion and the medium-term inflation target of at most 5.0% were missed. With respect to the secondary convergence criteria, the country met the public debt to GDP criterion, while the nominal exchange variation criterion was missed in the first half of 2019. See table as stated. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Sierra Leone status of rationalized ECOWAS secondary convergence, December 2013 to June 2019. See table as stated. The environment and climate change in Sierra Leone. Sea level rise. Rising temperatures and floods have adversely affected the environment, agriculture, food security, and threatens the lives and livelihood of communities. More than 3 million people who live on the Sierra Leone coastline are severely affected. The western region of Freetown has been impacted most by the floods this year. Over 5,000 people have been displaced. In July 2018, with the support of the United Nations Development Program, Sierra Leone launched a coastal resilience project with $9.9 million grants from global environment facilities, least developed countries fund, and $31.6 million in co-financing from the government of Sierra Leone. The project is designed to strengthen the ability of coastal communities to systematically manage climate change risks, sensitization activities. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, members of the Sierra Leone delegation have continued to raise awareness on the ECOWAS Parliament and the critical role of ECOWAS in regional integration through report sharing, border visits, sensitization meetings, radio and television discussions. Honorable members, as I conclude, our delegation's gratitude to you, Honorable Speaker, who has been there for us, and the honorable members and the staff for the enormous support we have enjoyed working together, most especially my colleagues, the ECOFEPA, in as much as we have language barrier. But we speak in signs and we understand because we are women, we work together. I want to thank you and wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year in advance. Thank you very much.